Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Adam Chapman, and I was...
To the department, if you would, please.
To the department?
To the
All these
Department
people?
of Education, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Adam Chapman. And I've heard a lot about here tonight the validity of the science. So I think I speak for the majority here when I make these comments. I've reviewed... It's my understanding that we're talking about these sections and they've been removed for review. I've reviewed these sections. I have seen nothing that warrants their removal. And I believe they should be implemented as they are. And I think that's why we're having this discussion. You guys wanted that opinion. The department wanted that opinion. So I've seen, there doesn't seem to be a rational reason why these were removed. And I can only see reasons for why we should have them as a part of our language for our students to learn from. Even if you deny climate change and you don't believe it, you can't have a discussion about that if you were never presented with the topic, you know? So we need to be educating people, or at least telling people about these controversial issues. You know, for some reason they're controversial. We need to tell people about that so that people can have a discussion and talk about these things. I've heard a lot tonight about the environmental impact and the science. I'd like to finish by talking about morality and also economics. In my best capacity, I'm only 20. I'm a student as well, so perhaps I'm not the best person to be speaking about these things. First of all, on the moral issue, if the scientific consensus is that we are affecting our climate and we are denying students in Idaho the ability to speak about those things, we're setting those students back. You know, we're not giving them a chance to be informed. And I think that's immoral, I think, in a way. I think we can agree. I see, yeah, okay, good. And then, as far as economics are concerned, I mean, I accept these things as fact, and students all over the world are being taught this stuff. And the students growing up today with me and my generation are going to have to compete in the global economy. So we're going to have to be competing with the best education systems in the world, and even the poor education systems who are being taught what we are being denied. So, in order for our students to be viable in the workplace, they need to be educated and they need to have an understanding about the world. And on this issue especially, because this affects everything. You know, this affects agriculture, it affects relaxation, like your days on the beach, those are all going to change if these get to, if the consequences listed here are felt at their full extent. And perhaps one thing I thought of on the way over here was the planet Venus. Now, I'm not in astrology or anything like that. I'm not an astronomer. But the planet Venus, its climate is a product of a gaseous environment. And it's closer to the sun, you know, hundreds of thousands of miles closer to the sun. But it's also hundreds and thousands of miles away from the sun. So its climate, how hot it is, the boiling seas of sulfur, the acid rain, the heat that people can't even comprehend here, even in our imagination, is a product of the climate, the gaseous climate, a climate filled with greenhouse gases. And that's something that these sections allude to the introduction of greenhouse gases into our atmosphere. Oh, sorry. And so we need to be talking about that with the students, not just, you know, for moral reasons, not just for the economics of it all, making us less competitive, but also because it could be something very dangerous for all of us. And maybe not those of us who are not going to be around much longer, but for me, someone who is young, someone who has to deal with all these things, it may be something that, you know, it's not good for me, you know. So thank you so much, and thank you for coming.